MudRFunR here. Today I'm going to be repairing the axles on my Murray lawnmower. I just finished putting a new head gasket on it and I haven't got it running yet. I wanted to change the oil, so it should be sitting on level ground before I do that. So I've already got it on this jack stands and I'm going to fix the axles before I bother to start this up. I guess a little bit of grease goes a long way. There's a grease fitting down there. I don't think I've done anything but ignore that thing. So that's what I got on my newest mower, and this one that I picked up for 300 bucks. Very little bit of play there. Yeah, I've got this one off already, and you can see right there, isn't that nice? Yeah. Not sure if you'll be able to see that on the inside here, but you can see the grooves wore right into that thing, and that hole's pretty big compared to what it should be. And the other side's not as bad. It's actually pretty good still, but yeah, I think that rim's toast too. So here's where I'm at now. I've got that wheel off and I've got this wheel off. I was hoping this one was going to be in a lot better shape than that one. I mean, it is actually a lot better, but it's already starting to show some wear. So I'm not going to use the one off of the twin. I'm going to take this right off, then you can get a closer look. And that's probably a lock nut. It's going to be tight all the way to the bottom. Steering arm gone. Put the nut back on. And that pin needs to come out. And just remember how this all came apart. There we go. And it looks like a washer fell from here, so it belongs in here. And it looks like just one washer on top here. And 2 bushings. I have to take that off because that part there is going to need some good welding done on it. So you can really see how deep that is right there, and there's a bit of a groove wore in right here too, and I'm not going to worry about that one so much because I'm going to have a hard time getting in there to grind it, but I will do a little bit of a weld just to fill part of that in, and this is going to get all filled in. So I got it tightened in the vise here, and I'm just going to use a little wire wheel, clean this all up a little bit. That should do it. So now the trick is there's the hole where this pin goes in, The trick is not to fill that hole in with weld. So I'm just going to put that pin in there, and that gives me a reference point that I can see through my welding mask, at least anyway. Okay, I just have a little 110 MIG welder, and it doesn't have any gas, so it leaves a lot of spatter. That's okay. A little bit warm. Okay, look at that. Pin came out. That means my hole's still there. That's good. And time to hit it with the grinder. Okay, so I've let it cool off quite a bit. And got my safety glasses on. So like I said, I'm not a professional at lawnmowers. I rarely have had much to do with small engines or small tires like this. And I know most of you would know this already, but I just discovered that there's a bushing inside these rims. And I just happen to have an old set of rims, and I knocked that out already. And I'm going to knock out one of these, and I'm going to make sure that it fits. Quite sure it will. Same size rims, but I can't use these because the offset is different here. I got this one out of the back side, and this is the rim that's really horribly bad. So I'll lay this down with the back facing down, and What I'm using here is a soft brass punch so I don't damage the bushing any when I knock it out. And there's a little ridge there that you can feel. As soon as you hit that ridge, you know you're on the bushing. There she be. Oh my. They are a little bit different. This one here has a little bit of a taper on it, but that's probably just for installation purposes. Other than that, the thickness is the same, and I know that the shaft size is the same on both of these because I tried this rim on the shaft already. Just going to clean some of the old grease off of this. Alright, and there's the hollow center here. I'm not going to get all the grease out of here, just some of the icky stuff around the end over here. Some of it's thickened up pretty bad. Talk about neglect on my part. Hope this works now. I don't have to steal the tires off of the twin. And another big piece of brass. That's bottomed out. And it's in there. This is gonna work. There's my axle shaft. Look at that. Slick. I'm gonna replace this other one. It's a little bit loose too. Good to go. And now it's supper time. So I'm using a little bit of a shorter punch this time. And I had it almost all the way out already. And that other punch had left a couple of little divots in here. Yeah, same here. See how the punch left a few marks? I'm just going to grind that out, or file that out, get that smooth. Much better. Flip this one over. Knock that other one out. Out she comes. And this one was not so bad, but this one's better. Bigger hammer, that ought to work. Wow. I think my camera moved on me before when I was trying to show you what I was doing here. I got they call it a Zercut. And it's a lot less abrasive than a grinding disc. And I have a couple of little bumps here that I just want to clean up, so I'll show you what I was doing to get this smoother. So you can see it's far from perfect. It's got little ridges and ripples and whatever in it, and some spots didn't quite fill in all the way with the welder, but the rim fits on there really nice, and this is going to work. So I think I'm going to put this one back on and then get the other one off. So this is going back on, looking pretty good. And the bushing goes in there. There's a washer on the bottom of it here. That stayed on. Okay. I shouldn't really be putting this all together dry, so I'm gonna get some grease. A little bit of leftovers from a tube that I couldn't empty all the way. It says multi-purpose. There, just a little bit on there, just so everything will slide on there a little better. Whoops. This one goes this way. Yeah, look at that. So much easier. Let's do it through the top one. Grease that a little bit. Okay, the bottom one's in. And the top here has a little bit of paint on it. And something to note here is, oops, that one just popped right into place. There's a little notch right there, and the bushing has a notch right there. And it has to go into that notch, or it's not going to go in far enough. Yeah, that'll work. Could probably use another couple of washers in there. So I found a pin the right size. Got one in there already. And found some washers. Fairly thin ones. And that tightens up the whole thing. I left the original washer on the bottom, the way it should be, I believe. So, bend these over. There we go. Okay, that is nice. I'm just gonna put the steering back on. Again, there was a washer there, and a lock nut. Alright, get the wheel back on there. And this time I'm not going to ignore the grease fitting. I'm going to grease that up. So the wheel's on, washer, and the real big washer, and the pin. I salvaged it from this side. Still fits through even after all that welding. Okay, so I have this much play. So I'm going to the other side, going to get the wheel and the axle shaft off of that side, and I'll show you a little bit of what that one looks like. Okay, so now on to the second side. You can see how deeply grooved that one is. Pretty scary looking. And this one here, it's got an edge right there too. And I'll do the same, go up as far as this collar here, and so I can still get my grinder at it. I'm going to stay away from the inside of this. And put my pin back in again so that I don't plug up that hole. So there's the piece of pin that I had from doing the other one. And again, that's my reference point there so that I know I can only go up to here. A little easier to see with the welding mask on. So I'll go ahead and weld this all up right after I get it cleaned up. Okay, not the greatest looking weld in the world, but it'll do. Gonna let that cool off. And again, that pin was my reference point where to stop, and it worked. I think once that gets all ground smooth, it'll look relatively good, about as good as the other side. So this is all cooled off to the touch. On the last one I had a hard time seeing exactly how far I was grinding everything down. I went a little bit farther than I'd like to. So this time I'm wearing my dollar store glasses with my safety glasses over top. Looking pretty good there. So now to top it off with this zerk cut. I think they call that a zip cut. Alright. Still looks a little ripply there, but yeah, it's not like I'm taking this thing down the quarter-mile track or nothing. As long as the bushings fit on there fairly snug, we're good. So here's my other old rim that I have no use for, and a little bit wobbly on there. Those bushings are probably wore. It's off an old lawnmower, so better than what I got. So I'm going to swap those bushings around in the rim, and I'll get back to you once I get this together. So both wheels are back on. Of course they still have a little wobble to them, but far from what was there before. They're both about the same. And rather than just ignore these grease fittings here, I'm actually going to grease the axles up. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do the other wheel. And then right behind the wheel here, on the inside of the wheel, there's that grease fitting, which I have also neglected ever since this mower was new. Surprisingly, it still had a lot of grease in it, but now that I moved it and cleaned it, there we go. It's starting to come out the top and the bottom. And then I'm going to do the other side and let this thing down. So I just changed the head gasket on this thing, and I need to change the oil on it, and I couldn't do it really until I got this thing set back down on the ground, and I needed to get the wheels back on it. And if you'd like to see the head gasket replacement video, I'll put a card right up there for you. Got the jack stands out of here, and it's ready to let down and change the oil. And thank you for watching. Hope you subscribe and hit the like button if you like.